Hello and welcome to the SUNY New Paltz family. My name is Emma Morcone, pronouns she, her, hers, and I am the campus's Title IX coordinator and LGBTQ coordinator. I'm a very proud alum of SUNY New Paltz, obtaining both my bachelor's degree and my master's degree from this campus. One of the reasons that I first decided to attend SUNY New Paltz and make it my home was because of the sense of comfort and safety I felt the moment I stepped onto our campus. When I visited New Paltz for the first time, I immediately recognized that this was a place I can imagine myself living and learning for the next 4 years. That sense of safety is why I continue to call New Paltz my home, both personally and professionally. It is our top priority to ensure we are providing an environment that is equitable, inclusive, and welcoming for all who live and work here. As I mentioned, I am the Title IX coordinator. Title IX, for those of you who do not know, is a federal law that prohibits behaviors such as sexual assault, dating violence, sexual harassment, and sexual discrimination. I know listening and talking about these topics can be really difficult, especially during orientation. But again, one of the reasons that our campus is so welcoming, comfortable, and safe is because we have these hard conversations regularly with our students. SUNY New Paltz continuously promotes a culture of respect. We pride ourselves in having a campus where students feel supported in talking about these serious topics. These issues matter. Your story matters.
During this module, we will be discussing serious topics such as sexual harassment, sexual assault, and rape. Again, we understand and know that these topics may be difficult and challenging to hear about. I urge you to practice self-care during this presentation. Please take breaks if you need to, and always know that you can contact our Psychological Counseling Center should you need any additional support. Our Psychological Counseling Center is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. during the summer intersession. They can be reached at area code 845-257-2920. Title IX is 37 powerful words. It is part of the federal education law that states the following: no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Behaviors that fall under and are therefore prohibited under Title IX include sexual discrimination, sexual assault, sexual harassment, rape, and interpersonal violence. Title IX applies to all students, regardless of their sexual orientation and/or gender identity, and to all employees, no matter where or when the incident occurs.
There's a lot of terminology and words associated with Title IX. Here are some important definitions you should be aware of. What is affirmative consent? Affirmative consent is a knowing, voluntary, and mutual decision amongst all participants to engage in a sexual activity. Consent can be given by words or action as long as that consent demonstrates clear permission to engage in a sexual activity. Simply being silent or not resisting does not demonstrate consent. Consent does not vary based upon someone's gender identity or sexual orientation. What is sexual violence and sexual misconduct? Sexual violence and sexual misconduct are physical acts perpetrated against a person's will or where a person is unable to provide consent. Such acts include, but are not limited to, rape, sexual assault, and sexual exploitation. Sexual assault and sexual misconduct are broad terms and can include any unwanted sexual conduct. It can include behaviors such as pinching, pressing, patting, without someone's affirmative consent. Rape includes penetration by any object or body part without clear and affirming consent. Sexual exploitation may include invasion of sexual privacy, non-consensual use of photographs, videotaping or audio taping of a sexual activity, engaging in voyeurism, or knowingly transmitting HIV or an STI to another individual. Sexual misconduct can happen to anyone and by anyone, regardless of gender identity or sexual orientation. What is dating violence? Dating violence, sometimes referred to as interpersonal violence or relationship violence, includes violent acts or patterns of coercive behavior that serve to exercise control over another individual. The coercive and abusive behaviors can be physical, sexual, psychological, financial, or emotional in nature. Title IX also prohibits gender-based harassment, including discrimination based on gender, gender identity, or gender expression. What is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment of a student denies or limits, on the basis of sex, gender, or gender identity, the student's ability to participate in or receive benefits or services from an educational institution. It can include unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or nonverbal or physical conduct of a sexual nature. What is stalking? Stalking is a repeated course of conduct directed at a specific individual that directly or indirectly, or through third parties, distresses, intimidates, or places fear in a person. This also includes repeated incidents where electronic media such as cell phones are used to pursue or intimidate, threaten, or place fear in a reasonable person.
When discussing Title IX, it's also important to mention our consensual relationship policy, which prohibits romantic and sexual relationships between a student and a SUNY New Paltz employee. Relationships between a student and an employee, such as a coach, advisor, college administrator, or employment supervisor, are considered professional relationships. These professional relationships carry an imbalance in power. For example, a professor teaching your course has the power to assign you grades on your assignments. A student may be afraid to end a relationship or even report the behavior because they are fearful of getting a bad grade. As a result, these relationships are prohibited. SUNY New Paltz provides a wide variety of resources and support services for students who have had unwanted experiences. If a student wishes to seek support for a Title IX violation, the most important thing to remember is that the reporting individual, also called the victim or the survivor, is in control of what happens next. The survivor will always drive the process. Reporting to the institution does not mean that we force a student to do anything that they do not want to do. We would never force a student to speak to the police or seek out counseling. It's up to that reporting individual or survivor which support services and reporting options, if any, they would like to take advantage of. There are many offices you can visit to talk about a sexual assault, dating violence, or other Title IX violation. These offices include the following: the Title IX office, which is part of the Office of Human Resources, Diversity, and Inclusion. That's the department that I work for. In addition to the Title IX office, students can report incidents to the Psychological Counseling Center and Health Center on campus, which are both free resources for students. If you will be living on campus with us, you can report to your resident director or RD of your residence hall. You can also report to our university police department. Again, you never have to report to the police unless you choose to do so. Lastly, you can also report to any employee in the Division of Student Affairs. This includes staff such as our Dean of Students, athletic coaches, and Educational Opportunity Program advisors. SUNY New Paltz also has a lot of support services for survivors of Title IX incidents. Again, the survivor can choose which, if any, of these support services that they would like to take advantage of. First and foremost, students can speak with me, the Title IX coordinator. Next, we have several options for mental health counseling and support that are free to our students. Again, we have our Psychological Counseling Center, which is open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. during the summer intersession. Their contact information is listed on screen. Next, we also have Oasis Haven, which is our student-staffed crisis intervention center, providing peer-to-peer counseling. Another resource is our Crime Victim Advocate, who is on our campus 2 days a week. The Crime Victim Advocate, Amy Westberg, provides counseling as well as additional support to students who may be pursuing Title IX incidents at a criminal level. The Student Association pays for an attorney who is affiliated with our campus and can offer free advice and legal options. If a student who is living on campus no longer feels safe or comfortable in their residence hall, we can offer to move them to a different living space on our campus. If a student is struggling academically as a result of this unwanted experience, we can provide academic support as well. If the attacker or perpetrator is another New Paltz student, we have additional support options. Whether or not the student wants to pursue a criminal process, there is the option to hold the other person accountable through the college's student conduct process. This college-based process gives both students a fair and equitable opportunity to share their side of the story, provide any evidence, and have a committee determine if the information results in a finding of responsibility. Lastly, we also have something called no contact orders, which is an official timeout between two SUNY New Paltz students. If a no contact order is put in place, the students are not allowed to communicate with each other, either in person or electronically, via text, social media, email, etc. This was a lot of information to process and take in. Please know that myself, as well as many other folks on campus, are here should you need anything. Please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions. Enjoy the rest of your training modules and welcome to the SUNY New Paltz family.